Okay guys, I got a 2000 NPR here. Now, the NPRs and NQRs are very similar, and the W4500 Chevy Isuzus, or I should just say Isuzu or Chevy, are very similar. However, this is a gasoline engine truck. The carrier bearing on this is going to be different than the W4500 on the Isuzu, and it's going to be different on the W4500 on the Chevy or Isuzu diesel engine. I hope that makes sense. So today we're working on a W4500 Chevy, also made by Isuzu. 2000 is the year. We're putting a carrier bearing on it. If you need the carrier bearing, which is also called the driveline support, here's your number. 970-96195 is a part number. Roughly, I'd lie to you, but I think it was $40 or $50. So for this job, we're going to use a 17 millimeter with an extension. That's a socket, 1/2-inch drive or 3/8. We're going to use the new carrier bearing, of course. We need a cloth. We need a 8 millimeter or 5/16, and we're going to need a flathead screwdriver. So when the carrier bearing goes out, it can cause some serious vibration. You may even think that you have a bad tire or something. That's how much vibration it causes. And a lot of times when the rubber breaks, if it breaks around the outside, as this one did, you can see where it gave here, the rubber's still in there, so you're not hearing clanking, you're simply feeling the vibration. So if you hear the clanking, then you know it's bad. But if you feel the vibration and you can't see anything wrong with the front end of the tires, double check this. Okay, so the plan here is to pull off these 5/16/8 millimeter bolts, and then we're gonna use the flathead screwdriver to pry this back and drop this down on the rag. It'll actually hang here, it won't drop yet. And then we'll pull off these two 17 millimeters here and drop the carrier bearing down. At that point, the yoke and all will slide out of the drive shaft, and we'll be able to just slide it out and put the other one in. So let's start by getting those off. So there we go, we got them off. You can let one or two hanging if you want there. So now you're just gonna put the screwdriver back behind it, give it a few good bumps here, and we're gonna pop it out of there. It's gonna take two hands. Let me get two hands in there and get that out, and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so there she is. She just came right out. Took a little bit of a pulling in on it, you know, yanking on it with the screwdriver, but it came out pretty easy. So now we're gonna drop these out. You can see where this is already getting ready to slide right out. The drive shaft is. So let's go ahead and pull those two 17s, drop this down, and separate this. Okay, there she is sitting down in there now. Now let's go ahead and separate the drive shaft from the carrier bearing. This shaft will stay with the smaller one, and let's take that on into the garage. So you might have to wiggle the crap out of it a little bit. There is a set screw on the other side, or a grease fitting I mean, that you may have to move a little bit too, but for the most part just go up and down and it should yank right out. So let me get that out. Sorry guys, I don't have a tripod or anything, so you're not seeing all the action, but it's really just a matter of yanking that piece out and yanking this out. So let me get that out. Okay guys, so now we're going to try to take this lip off by just smacking this with a hammer right there and pulling it that way. Now it would be extremely easy just to walk over there and throw it in the press, but if you've seen my videos, you know that's not what this is about. It's all about trying to do this without expensive tools and such. Although that was not an expensive tool. Harbor Freight had it for about $60, $70. And another thing, if you're going to do a kingpin on one of these trucks, see these holes I put in there? Click on my name underneath this video, and I'll show you an easy way to do it with this simple tool. So anyway, let's get back to this. Now I'm just going to grab a hammer, and I'm just going to smack that thing right there and try to pull what would be this ring off first. Okay, so it took me about 15 hits is all, just like that. Caught the hammer in there the best I could and just smacked it, and that lip came right out. So now we can disassemble all this, and we get some emery cloth. We're going to have to smack that a couple of times. Same thing, just tap it the same way off. And just flop the drive line over like that, and then do it on that side and go back. Now's a good time to go ahead and straighten this fin too, because that is a cooling fin as well as a dust guard. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll smack this one off. Okay, only about 4 hits. 2 on this side and flipped it over, and 2 on that side. So now we can pull the bearing off, and let's go ahead and clean this up. Didn't have to use a press, didn't have to take it to a machine shop, blah, 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 blah. All about saving money, right? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up, and let's get started putting the other one on. Right, so we got the lip kind of straightened, we got that cleaned up a little bit. So the main thing is when you clean that is just to make sure that that sits pretty flat. And that's not bad right there. So we're gonna put that on first. Now, when you're putting this on, the side that already has the lip on it is going to go towards the front of the vehicle, towards the drive line. And then, of course, the ring that we took off will go back on. So we're going to put that on first. Then we're going to put this on. And then this on. So let me find something to tap around there. I want to find something other than the tool that is made for it, because, again, this is all about saving money, too. Also, if you click on my name for those other videos and you check them out for these NPRs, please look at the one that tells you about the transmission. If you're having transmission issues with these trucks and they're shifting funny, but they don't quite feel like they're slipping, it feels like they're just shifting funny, before you have that tranny rebuilt or before you swap that tranny, check out my video, because I found something out that will save you so much money and time. All right, so let's get back to this. I'm gonna find a large pipe or something that we can just tap that down with. Okay, so I found a piece of 2-inch steel pipe that I can just slide over top there, and it goes right on. And I can tap on that bad boy from the other side. I may even cut it again so it's a more square cut, and make it a little shorter too. So let me go ahead and get that tapped on. You get the idea. You don't need to see me beat that on. Let me get that tapped on. We'll get that ring down the exact same way. So the bearing went on really nice and smooth, easy. It actually took, once I got it straight, one tap. Actually, it was two. I'm sorry. Tap and tap. She slid right on. That's the importance of using emery cloth if you have it. So now we'll do the same thing with this seal here. Let me put that on. The pipe worked great again. Actually, I just stood this up on the concrete over there and just tapped down, and she went straight on nice and tight. Again, no press was needed. That's great. So let's get back under there now and let's reverse this process. We'll slide this in. When you took this out, if it feels like it just doesn't want to come out and you're pulling on it hard, it's because you need to push it back in and snap it out hard and fast, because the grease that's around this will create a suction. That's all it is. So either remove that zert fitting so some air can get in there and it'll slide right out, or just yank it hard. It'll come out. Now the bolts, when we tighten this back up, it's important to make sure that you know what to torque it at, but at the same time, when I do it, I remember how hard it was to take it off, and that's how tight I put it back on. Anything that's on a drivetrain, especially these larger trucks like this, these W4500s, just imagine pretty damn tight. So if you want to look up the specs, you can. I'm not going to worry about the specs on this particular job. That's up to you. Okay, and if somebody needs it, I can find it for you and put it in the link in the description below, but I don't think you'll need it. All right, let's get under there and let's get this bad boy put back together. Okay, so now we're going to slide her in there. You want to try to get the universals lined up the best you can to where they slide back in there easily, and you don't have to rotate the vehicle. But the main thing that you have to do is, if you notice the notches here, there's a spot where there's a notch missing. Make sure that that's lined up here or you'll never get it in. This rubber seal will bend a little bit and move. That's how you got it out. So it will go back in with a little bit of pressure. You don't need to remove this cap. But what you do need to do is make absolutely sure that where that groove is that it's lined up here. Otherwise, you'll be fighting it all day. So let's get that slid in. Okay, once I got it lined up, and I just made a little tiny nick and a little tiny nick where that groove was so I could see it when I was pushing it in. At that point, it went straight in. So now we're going to get our 17mm bolts. I'm going to hold this up with my knee, get those bolts started. You don't need to tighten them all the way. You can go ahead and do the universal if you want. But at the same time, this will hang, so you can snug it up to either direction that you want to do. But let's go ahead and get it up in the air and get those two 17s on there. Okay, so I went ahead and got those started just a little bit on each side there. And now you can line this up, move it around, get it where you need it. Now, if this is not lined up, I hope you know this. If not, some people don't, and it's okay. Go over there and put it in neutral and make sure you have something block the wheel. I got my hammer under there. I know I should have a chalk or something, but it's what I use. So throw it in neutral, and then you'll be able to spin that all you want. So, all right, let's go ahead and get these here started. We can wrench those down, then we'll come back and tighten these back up. Okay, guys, that's it. We got her all put back together. 17s are tight. 5/16 or 8 down there is tight. I believe it's 5/16 actually. So I hope this video helped you out. Let me share something with you that my daughter told me the other day, and that was if a man made it, my dad could fix it. So I want to tell you guys, we don't have to be professionals to do any of this stuff. These carrier bearings are just like the old Skylarks, the old Rivieras, if you remember. Pretty much all carrier bearings the same. These heavy duty trucks, a lot of them are pressed on. You've seen how we got away from not having to use the press for that. So keep that in mind anytime you're doing this stuff. And if anybody wants to talk or leave comments or anything about how professional they are, how unprofessional I was when I attempted this, Just keep that in mind, what my daughter said. If a man made it, we can fix it. Doesn't mean that we have to do it the exact same way he did it. Let's just get it done. Don't be afraid to get it done. I love that comment. I love all your guys' comments. Please click like it. Please click subscribe if you haven't. Click on my name underneath this video for all my other all my other how-to videos. Once again, guys, enjoy.